Advertising. Advertising is everywhere. Seriously. Hell, even my side has advertising. Why? Because Ken's gotta eat. No, honestly, Ken's gotta eat. It's nearly 1 in the afternoon and I haven't even had breakfast yet. Anyway, as I was saying, advertising is everywhere, but it is up to us to decide how much we let it affect us. Isn't it? That's a question as old as time itself. Or at least, it goes as far back as the 1920s, when Edward Bernays and George Creel and so many others helped give birth to modern advertising. To a system that infects our every decision, our popular culture, and pretty much everything. Do we have a choice? Hell no, we don't have a choice. And I'm not talking about children here. Children clearly have no choice in how advertising affects them. Why not? Because the advertisers own too many of our politicians. Still think it doesn't affect you? Listen, during the 2014 Super Bowl, Super Bowl 48, Coca-Cola aired a multilingual commercial in which folks of every creed and color and walk of life sang America the Beautiful, which is pretty much the most patriotic thing you can do in a country founded on the principles of inclusion, multiculturalism, and open arms. After all, doesn't one of our nation's symbols, the Statue of Liberty herself, say, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore, send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door." Coca-Cola instantly branded itself as patriotic, as American, as our country's only... Actually, no. Because here's what happened. Almost immediately, the American right wing, call them Republican, call them teabaggers, call them nutjobs, it's all the same, began tearing out their receding hair, bitching and moaning about less than 60 seconds in which people spoke a language different from English. They didn't care about our founding principles. They were upset about America the Beautiful being sung in a language other than English, because English is, of course, American. So they're crying about their bigotry being stepped on. While the American left, who had been avoiding Coke because they're a culture more attuned to health issues brought about by drinking sugar water, get to feel all righteous and patriotic. The left gets to flock back to Coke because they now see it as inclusive and multicultural and all those ideas they take stock in. Was this accidental? Of course it wasn't. Take a look at some oil ads. Go ahead. Shell, Exxon, Mobil, BP, you name it. Every last one of their ads tries to present the dirtiest, most abominable industry as patriotic, caring, and downright avuncular. And do you know why? When was the last time you saw a gas station and thought about how it was destroying your planet? That is, after all, what oil is doing, making Earth far less inhabitable for human life. But consider the reaction people have to those protesting oil, to groups dedicated to saving the planet. What do we call them? Eco-terrorists. Hippies. We entertain the notion that anyone against fossil fuel must have an agenda, because certainly the oil companies don't. Why would they? We've allowed advertising to make us protective of our gas stations, of our oil waste, of our cars. We've allowed advertising to convince us that anyone who cares must be suspect, must be feared and hated. We've allowed that to happen with guns, too, and with wars, and even with the politicians who are paid by the industries who so warp our brains. And why is this? After all, how is anyone swayed by advertising? It's completely biased, after all. Advertising is simply one entity, an individual, a corporation, a group of evil bastards, talking themselves up. They make nothing but self-serving claims, after all. Coke is great. Ford is great. The iPhone is great. You think you're ever going to hear Chevy tell you not to buy their cars because they contribute to global warming? You think you'll ever hear the NRA admit they are wrong? I mean, completely and utterly wrong? You won't. And still, I have to admit that advertising does serve a purpose. As an independent writer, I use advertising. I try to find a readership for my books, for my essays, even for this YouTube series. And I need to advertise more than you could possibly know because I'm a small-time writer. I work with small publishers, or I publish my own work. I don't have a PR team. I don't have a corporation backing me up. As a result, you won't find a lot of my work in big bookstores or on that long table at Costco. And oh, how I dream about that long table at Costco. So, I have to advertise. But that doesn't mean it's all the same. And it doesn't even mean I'm right. Heck, some people aren't going to like my work. I accept that. But I hope you'll give it a try just the same. Advertising is never going to go away, but that doesn't mean we should just let it make our decisions for us. It's your job to challenge every assertion made in every ad, to use those critical thinking skills you were taught in... What? You weren't taught critical thinking skills in school? Oh, right. The politicians owned by Coke and Big Oil and the NRA don't want you thinking too much or too effectively. It devalues their advertising dollar. What do you think about advertising? Leave a comment below. And be sure to check out my website at kenlasalle.com. You can find my books on Amazon and around the web, and my audiobooks on iTunes, Audible, and other audio sites. Be sure to check out my podcast, So Dream Something, and subscribe to this channel for more videos coming soon. I'm Ken LaSalle.